Okay, this is a reaction video. This is from Ben Shapiro. What she did to Star Wars was unforgivable. Now, this is probably about Kathleen Kennedy, who says she's going to retire at the end of the year, and good riddance as far as that's concerned, because I was a Star Wars fan and haven't watched Star Wars in a long time because of what she did. But let's see what Ben Shapiro has to say about this.
There's a reason why the only memorable element of her tenure at Lucasfilm is going to be this clip from South Park.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Meanwhile, in the best news
That's Cartman, as Kathleen Kennedy, put a chick in and make her gay. Interesting.
I've heard all week, Kathleen Kennedy is apparently going to step down at Lucasfilm after a 13-year run of absolute horror in which the only success was Rogue One, apparently.
Well, Rogue One was a good, decent Star Wars movie. I did enjoy that one. That was actually done very well.
The Mandalorian, maybe, but that really wasn't.
The Mandalorian is pretty good. The first season was fantastic. The second and third were okay.
Heard of this Filoni? I'm not sure anyone has ever ruined classic IP more than Kathleen Kennedy ruined the Star Wars
IP is intellectual property.
IP. It's truly incredible, and it's all because she decided to infuse her trash left-wing values into the Star Wars universe. She decided that the Force was created by lesbian space witches. She decided that Luke Skywalker was actually a loser who hated the Force and drank, like, green cow milk.
Yeah, that's The Last Jedi, and that was a horrible movie. That was absolutely a piece of garbage movie, no matter how you look at it. It was horrible.
The disaster area that is her tenure at Lucasfilm is unparalleled in modern film history.
George Lucas has to be going crazy with what she did with Star Wars. I mean, he sold it for billions of dollars, $5 billion, I think is what he sold it for, and she absolutely ruined it. I haven't seen Skeleton Crew. I don't know if it's any good or not. The Acolyte, I think, is what I saw it up to like the fourth episode and then couldn't watch anymore. Horrible.
Because you're talking about literally the greatest IP in the history of American film, completely wrecked for 13 years. When we say that wokeness poisons all it touches, I mean, you know how hard you have to work to destroy the Star Wars IP? You have to work so hard. I mean, truly.
That is true.
Because let's be frank, George Lucas tried to do it with the first 3 episodes.
No, I disagree with him to that. Look, I disagree with him on that. George Lucas did not. Look, I get you may not have liked Episode 1 because of Jar Jar Binks, and Episode 2. Look, I liked Episode 1 despite Jar Jar Binks. I thought Episode 2 was fantastic. I thought Episode 3 was fantastic as well. But no, George Lucas did not try and destroy it. That's that. I disagree with that. When I grew up, I was watching Episodes 4, 5, and 6, right? I'm old enough to remember when Episode 4, even before it even had an Episode 4 on it. It was A New Hope. It didn't even have A New Hope. I remember seeing the scroll. You know, it is a period of civil war. That's what. That's all. It didn't have Episode 4. Didn't have a New Hope on it. I'm old enough to be alive in 1977 when that actually came out and saw that.
That's the originals. Right? That's Star Wars. That's Empire Strikes Back. That's Return of the Jedi. And then in the 90s, Lucas decided that it was time to tell the story, the backstory of Darth Vader. And so you got the 3 prequels, 2 of which are trash.
I disagree with that. Again, like I said, I thought the first one was decent story. The second one was a decent story as well. Look, the only thing that was wrong with the first movie was Jar Jar Binks. Okay, that was it. Now he was in it too much. I understand people don't like him, but I thought I thought Jar Jar Binks. That being said, it was still a good story. It had probably the best lightsaber battle in all the movies. And Episode 2, it had a very good ending scene. I thought Episode 2 was good. A little bit cheesy with their romance, but the third one was fantastic.
And the third of which, Revenge of the Sith, the last half of which is pretty good. Okay, but they tried to ruin it, and they didn't ruin it. Instead, it sort of just became part of the canon, and everybody enjoys it, even though there are real problems with the first 3 films. And then along came Kathleen Kennedy. And she decided that it was imperative to do a complete retread in which they killed off all your favorite characters and or added a bunch of new characters you don't care about for the sake of woke nonsense.
Yeah, the episode 7, 8, and 9, I thought the best character was Kylo Ren. And that's who the story should have been about. It should have been about his redemption, not about Rey taking on the name Skywalker. I never liked. I liked the character of Rey, but I also didn't like her. She was okay, but wasn't. Again, the story and the most interesting character in the three movies was Kylo Ren, and that's what it should have been about.
She will never be forgiven for The Last Jedi. No one can forgive that. It is unforgivable. No level of repentance will ever lead to absolution on The Last Jedi. No level of repentance will lead to absolution for Kathleen
Yeah, The Last Jedi was horrible.
Kennedy, for the Acolyte. There's
Yeah, the Acolyte was horrible too.
nothing to
I never finished it.
be done. I'm sorry. The destruction of Boba Fett. I mean, like, her... I want to look up the actual series that she created here because they're just so terrible. And we deserve to actually spend a little bit of time on just how awful they were. Like, true trash. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which makes...
Yeah, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was decent, but I didn't understand why, there was nothing about Princess Leia as a young girl, and Darth Vader having interacted with Obi-Wan Kenobi prior to, if you remember episode 4 when they met, when I was learned, now I'm the master. That again, it didn't make a lot of sense. Continuity errors.
No sense. None. Why is Obi-Wan Kenobi in touch with Darth Vader in the time between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Why?
I say it here, it comes out there.
It makes... And Leia, too, yeah. Obi-Wan is in touch with Leia. Oh, like, none of it makes any sense. It completely destroys all of it. Even shows that I kind of liked the beginning of, like Ahsoka, ended up kind of being destroyed.
I didn't finish Ahsoka. I've only seen like the first 3 episodes. It's okay, but I don't know if it's anything to write home about.
As long as they stuck around the Kathleen Kennedy universe long enough. Just terrible, just terrible. So, good riddance to bad rubbish in Kathleen Kennedy in the Star Wars universe again. What's amazing about Kathleen Kennedy is really, truly, how if you look at her IMDb prior to her modern run, it's pretty amazing. It's an original, amazing IMDb. Right? She produced the Jurassic Park franchise. But then, once she actually had control of the studio, you ended up with, like, the Indiana Jones films, and you ended up with all this crap.
Now, to be fair, a lot of people, when I first saw Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I was so disappointed. I was like everybody else. I thought it was one of the worst pieces of garbage I ever saw in my life. But then I heard George Lucas said, it's a movie. Sit and watch it. So I did. I went about 5 weeks later, in about theater with 3 people, and I watched it, and I just, hey, he's right. It was an enjoyable movie. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. It really is an enjoyable movie, and I thought the Dial of Destiny was good too. It's a shame it didn't do very well in the box office. I thought it was pretty good.
App on Disney Plus, ugh, just awful. There's a reason why the only memorable element of her tenure at Lucasfilm is going to be this clip from South Park.
Is there a problem, people?
No problem at all, Mrs. Kennedy.
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Yes, Miss Kennedy, some of the execs are just expressing that maybe...
Well, we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her name it gay!
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.
Put a diverse woman in it, make it gay!
But, Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby dear, put a chick in it, make her gay!
There you are, Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me, I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay.
Yes, the chef was a little confused what you meant by that.
It means put a chick in the linguine and make her f***ing gay!
We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, starting a business is exciting, but the financial chaos that comes with it, well, that not so much. When I launched Daily Wire, we became very familiar with compiling a sea of receipts, trying to track employee expenses, and spending countless hours reconciling statements. It was a nightmare. You can get $250 when you join Ramp. Officially declared that he's going to run for governor of Shapiro. That's ramp.com/Shapiro. ramp.com/Shapiro. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. And meanwhile, in other news, Vivek Ramaswamy has officially declared that he's going to run for governor of Ohio. President.
Okay, I guess he's no longer talking about Star Wars, so I'm going to end it here. What you did to Star Wars was unforgivable. This is Ben Shapiro. Please click like, share, and subscribe for him as well as for me, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.